Hi guys, Asrun here. I'm back with another video. So today I'll show you my custom commanders and how I made them. I have two commanders that I've upgraded. So first one is Commander German and the other one is Commander Soviet. I have not upgraded Commander France yet. I'll do it later. I think when I finish with Condor Soviet, I'll upgrade this guy's mobility and then I'll upgrade my iron cannon and then maybe I'll start working on Commander France. Uh, when it comes to upgrading commanders, there are a few things you should consider. First of all, the stars. So you have to choose between infantry, tanks, artillery, navy, air force. Actually, air force is good for every unit because you can always be in a city, and if you are in a city, then you can command the air force. Or for navy generals, you can command an aircraft carrier, but it is not your priority. Your priority is if it's a tank general, then the tanks and ability, and for artillery generals, the artillery ability. You don't usually do any infantry commanders because infantry is pretty weak, and you don't do navy generals because Mikawa is sufficient for this. Mobility is of course helpful because this like almost 2 extra grids of movement. That's very useful. And that's the first part. But actually, upgrading your stars is not really what determines whether your commander is strong or weak, because for the most part, it's the skills. For example, this skill on level 1 gives you plus 10 damage and costs 400 medals on level 1. Like upgrading your stars to 5 might give you 30 extra damage, but it will cost you a lot of medals, like over 2000. Upgrading this to like level 3, which also gives you 30 extra damage, but not only when you command tanks, but also like artillery and everything. Plus, if your rank is marshal, then it also gives you 1 extra mobility. So this pretty much a must-have skill for every commander, and it sometimes may be cheaper to upgrade this first rather than your stars. Also, there are some other useful skills like inspiring. I really like the skill because it keeps your morale high, especially for tank generals, because for artillery you attack usually once per turn. So it will not be that useful as you will rarely boost your morale with the skill, but for tanks it works perfectly. 20% chance to boost your morale after attacking it, and 16 extra damage on your morale is high. Also, Tide of Iron or Altil Barrage, so the one that gives you extra damage when your HP is low. It's also a really useful skill. And for tanks, we've got Blitzkrieg, which is good as it gives you 24% chance to avoid retaliation. So pretty much 1/4 of the time you can avoid retaliation from the enemy. This kind of skill, Panzer Leader or Artillery Leader or Navy Leader or something like that, it's pretty much useless because this gives you 16% chance to trigger and deal a fatal blow. Now, fatal blow sounds amazing, but it's actually not that good. It gives you like anywhere between 0 and 20 extra damage, because this basically deals the most damage that you could possibly deal. So normally you could deal the maximum amount of damage that you can deal, but you can also deal the lowest amount of damage. It usually is plus minus 10 from the average. So yeah, this gives you like 1.6 extra damage per hit. So your priority when upgrading commander is getting good skills and then also stars. Rank is optional. I mean, for tank generals it's a good idea to upgrade them to marshal rank, but for artillery not always. You might want to leave them at like an colonel or general level, like L colonel, a colonel, M general, L general maybe, so that they wouldn't get nuked as often as the ones that are marshals, because AI targets the units with the most HP. But also the ones that are in the city. So if you have an air general, and then he will be targeted more often than, let's say, a tank general who's in the field. Okay, and when it comes to medals, there are a few that are the best, because Legion medal is objectively the best. It gives you 150 extra health, plus many of the combos with it. Actually, I think almost every combo with it, gives you healing. So in different forms, like with Assault medal, also a really good one. It gives you expropriation, which is an extremely powerful skill. But you can also get like mechanic or something else. For the skills that are here in the handbook, for some reason I can't open it. Anyway, maybe I'll make a different video on these metal combos, but I don't think there's a point in doing so, as you can just read every combo that there is in the handbook. So yeah. As for my Commander Soviet, I have upgraded the skills, almost every single one except for this one. I am still gathering medals to do so. And anti-armor, for example, is a pretty interesting skill, as it usually is too weak. Like, it's not optimal to give it to your general. But here I'm making Commander 7 the general that can deal the most amount of damage in the whole game. And I could give him Tide of Iron, but that decreases his damage to armored units by 12. That might not seem like a big deal, but that makes him unreliable in one-shotting super tanks. So I decided to go with anti-armor, and it is good for operations, as in operations you are facing super tanks more often, and you're also not facing that many nukes, so you won't get nuked, because the Tide of Iron is useful only if you get nuked and you're trying to restore your health. And if you have level 3 expropriation, then it's 30% damage restoration. So yeah, it's pretty good then to have high damage, because not only you can defeat enemies easily, but you can heal yourself while doing so. And also plane fighting is a really good skill, because the only areas that are not plains is pretty much Africa, and of course there are some forests, some some mountains, and of course there are seas and all that kind of stuff, but planes are the most common, so it's really good to have plane fighting on your generals. It gives you 20 extra damage, so it's pretty good. And explosives are especially good for tank generals. But for artillery generals, they're also pretty decent, as they give you extra damage to fortress units. So you can easily heal up with expropriation, because 32 extra damage is when you restore 20 or even 10%, then it's between 3 and 6 extra HP per hit when you're shooting to the fortress units. So it can pretty easily heal you up, and it's also really useful in clearing the map. So yeah, and as for my commander friends, I'm thinking that I'll make him an artillery commander, but I'll wait with him. Perhaps if there's an update with Alien Challenge Conquest 1975, then maybe there will be a new meta for your commanders, or maybe there will be some new skills, so then make him a different commander. But for now, I think that's it, so